as a judge of the Asian Television Awards, what are some of the important qualities that you look for that entries must have?
So, broadly, I would classify it into 4 different categories. The first, obviously, is the content. How good is the storytelling? Because ultimately, it's the product which matters, and is the product engaging enough? How original is the story? How impactful is the story? Is it bold enough? That's the second thing that I look for. Third would be what it's actually in my line of work, which is the production quality, the quality of packaging, the quality of craftsmanship, which is your camera work, your graphics, your video editing. Does it support the storytelling? Does it enhance the storytelling? And sometimes the story may be so powerful that that these things are not required. They need to just be in the background and at a subliminal level, and the story itself takes over. So these are more required to sort of accentuate the product whenever it's necessary. So that's the third thing that I would look forward. And the fourth thing is obviously the quality of the journalist or the presenter. How good is he or she on air? If there is no presenter or journalist on camera, how good is the narration? Is the narration, being able to reproduce the tonality that is required in the story? So broadly, content, impact, boldness, originality. Third is your production and packaging, and the fourth is the quality of the journalist or the narrator or the presenter.
Okay, so as one of the judges of ATA, how does it feel to be part of Asian TV history?
So to be honest, I happen to be on the jury of many international awards, Promax Asia, Association for International Broadcasting, the AIBS, and Asian TV. However, though I'm an equal participant in all, Asian TV holds a special place in my heart for the simple reason that my journey with Asian TV goes back as old as the history of Asian TV. I've been associated with the Asian Television Awards for 20 years. First, as a participant, I was lucky enough and honored to win the Asian Television Award as a producer, both in 2003 and 2004 successively. After which I decided to remove myself from participating as an entrant. And in 2007, the Asian Television Awards management invited me to join the jury. And ever since, I have been on the jury for, I think, about 12 years. I took a break in between for a couple of years, and I got a couple of my colleagues in the organization to represent. But then I was requested to come back, and so I've been doing it for that long. So I think the very fact that I have been associated with it since 2007 speaks volumes about how invested I am in the whole process of Asian Television Awards. So it's very close to my heart, and it will always be special.
And you've seen all the changes in the past, 2 decades since you've been been a judge for that long.
Yes.
So
actually, to be you're right. 2007, when I first joined the jury, we met. At that time, jury used to sit in a room offline. That was the time of the offline juries, and that took me to Taiwan. And I had never been to Taiwan before. Beautiful country, and I have a very funny experience which I'll share. I'm actually, earlier I was embarrassed to share it, but now I think I can say it very confidently. So we had a long flight, and I was kind of very tired. So I slept, and I set an alarm for the India time and not the local time in Taiwan. And suddenly I get a call, and I just woke up from the bed, and I find that, saying, "Where are you? The jury is about to start." I said, "I'm in the room." So he said, but I've given and then I realized my foolishness of having given an alarm as per the India time and not the Taiwan time. So I don't know how I managed to get ready in about 5 minutes, max 10. And I just rushed in, and I was embarrassed and sorry for having kept the jury waiting, but lovely experience, had a great time. Subsequently, judging moved online, which I think is a great thing, because what happens is that it allows you to watch at your own time, at your own pace, and it's much more convenient in that sense. It also saves money both for the judges as well as Asian Television Awards, because the whole process of getting them together, booking a hotel, it's a great experience because you get to meet people and all that. But it's money well saved in that sense. And the best thing about this is that, for example, I have just started judging yesterday, and I devote 2 hours in a day to judge, one category or half, depending on how many entries are there in the category. And I continue with the rest of my day's work as usual. And then the next day I again come back. So it helps me to, sort of focus, to have the specific time to focus on 80 entries, and at the same time be able to do the rest of my work, whether it's official or personal. So it's great. Online judging, I'm a big fan of online judging.
You don't get to wake up in India time anymore.
Yeah. But there was another. But having said that, I do miss, because most of the judging earlier, when these people used to meet offline, was in lovely, beautiful Asian capital cities, good properties, good, we had, and you met people, from different parts of Asia, in the industry leaders. It was a great opportunity to network, to understand how they work, how they function, exchange of ideas. So that part is certainly something which I do miss. But yes, online judging is extremely convenient.
Good. As someone who works in news, what do you think are some of the qualities that you look for in a good news journalist?
So, I think first and foremost, in a nutshell, if I have to put it, does she have it in her to forge a successful career as a news journalist? Now, to be specific, what do I mean? I would say, does she hold my attention? When I say my attention, obviously, I mean, does she engage well with the audience? Does she know her facts well? Does she present the facts when required in a coherent and cogent manner? Does she seem like she knows what she's talking about? Does she ask the right questions? Does she have the correct tonality? Sometimes the journalist also needs to be sensitive or empathetic. Does she show the necessary empathy or sensitivity whenever required, if the story requires that? Does she manage to provide enough background material on the subject? Because not everybody comes in fully clued into the story. There are people who may just walk in cold and need to have the proper background. So I think all of these things put together is what I would look for in a journalist who wants to who aspires to be a successful journalist.
So it's something that you also apply when you're actually judging some of the content, right? As your role as the chief executive producer of TV18, in what ways are you leading the team to become India's top go-to source for news?
So, I think what we try and do, Indian television news, the landscape is extremely competitive and cluttered. There are more than 300 news channels in India. There are too many. There are just far too many. So the question of, it's a problem of plenty for the audience. You have so many to watch. So why should I, as a viewer, watch a particular news channel as against so many options available to me? So obviously, the content is pretty much the same. Everybody gives you the same news. It's how you present, how engaging you make it. So I think here the important thing is, obviously, apart from the content, which is the most important thing, you need to sort of be completely, you present the news without imposing your views. You have to give all sides of the story. You have to be fully well researched. You have to state the facts as they are. Apart from that, you have to choose engaging formats. You have to improvise and come up with new interesting formats which kind of keeps the audience interested. You need to make it interactive also, because now it's no longer a one-way thing. Audiences, everybody has an opinion. They want to share it. If you want to be seen to share their opinion with the presenter or with the channel and with the world at large. So the viewer also has a huge stake in it, and they want to be represented in that sense. So how do you make your newscast, your broadcast more engaging? How do you make it more interactive? How do you make it more original? I think these are the challenges that we from time to time we need to grapple with. Sometimes we are successful, sometimes we are not, but the process is something which is always on, and we try our best to do the best that we can.
Okay, so as a seasoned media professional, what can you say about India's current content landscape, and what's your prediction for it in the next year or so?
So I'm not good at making predictions, and and I won't hazard a guess. I've realized over time that the best thing to do as a journalist is not to make predictions. So let people make their own opinion, own view. But it's it's really changed over time. I've been in this industry for 26 years, and when I started, from the way we used to present news to now what it has come, it's a huge there's a sea change in that sense, and this is going to evolve now. With digital having come in, television, digital kind of having one newsroom where you have both the digital side and the TV side. So a lot has changed. A lot of the formats have changed. The kind of content is also slowly changing in that sense. So I think definitely one thing which is not going to change is that how good your storytelling is. Ultimately, everyone loves a good story, and that's never going to end. You and I both like good stories. So how good your story is, how original it is, how engaging do you make it to be, how beautifully you present it. I think these are the things which will always remain. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, that doesn't change at all. Yes, new players will come in, will try different things, but some things will remain the same.
I agree. So what can you say about to someone who wants to get into, India's news industry? What advice can you give?
So especially with the Indian context, and essentially because, like I said, it's very competitive. It's there is a lot of pressure. So you essentially have to be someone who can soak in a lot of pressure, because that's something which on a day-to-day basis newsrooms face. So if you can't do that, then this is not the place to be in. Secondly, I think you need to be not just passionate about news. You need to be crazy about news. You need to just be excited by news. I think that's what's required in the current Indian landscape, because otherwise it's very difficult to stay interested, as a journalist, unless you are really excited about news. And finally, I think you need to be present 24/7, 365 days. I mean, you need to be ready to be called in if duty demands, any time of the day, night, weekend, holiday season, because this is how it is. This is how the profession is. This is how competition is. If you feel that this is my me time, this is my, I need my separate time, then perhaps this industry, especially in the Indian context, is not right for you. So it needs a spirited, absolutely charged up, someone who loves news and who likes the whole, who's excited when news breaks, and wants to get there, likes that to be called in at night, in the middle of the night, say, come over, let's go out there. Somebody has who kind of gets into the groove when the pressure gets going, in that sense. I think it needs that kind of people, and therefore I think youngsters preferably are much better at handling pressure in that sense. So that is the reason why in most TV newsrooms you will find a lot of young people. Sometimes some TV newsrooms look like straight out of a college canteen, and you feel like that you just walked in and these are, what are these people doing here? But actually the reason why you have such young people is they can really soak in a lot of pressure, and they and that helps, because it's live television ultimately. There's no take two. You make a mistake, 1.3 billion people watch you. So that's the kind, and that's why it gets stressed. That's why it gets the environment itself. There's a lot of, so therefore you have to be somebody who can intrinsically handle these situations.
Pressures, yeah. So as part of the next Asian Television Awards, what part are you looking forward to?
So what I like to see when I'm judging is obviously one tends to watch only broadcast in your own zone, in that sense, in the Indian subcontinent and all that stuff. So I at this point of time, this allows me to sort of see how other countries are presenting news. What are the new ways of storytelling? How good is their production? What are the new things that are being done? So this is the time which allows me to sort of delve into how other broadcasters have maybe upped their game or trying something new. So that's something which is always excites me, and also it takes me into some really good stories, because as somebody who is working day in and day out, one sometimes doesn't tend to get into watching something at length in that sense. So this is an opportunity for me to go and see a lot of good work being done in so many other countries. So it's always exciting.